Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Randomania, where we have the fourth match of our third round of Season 4 of the Super Mario Land 2 Six Golden Coins Randomizer League. Alongside Slash Infinity, I'm Ferran Burgundy, and we've got a great matchup here between Ravetuba and malkuckn. And Slash, what do you think we're looking for here as far as our race here today?
Rave is one of our top runners. He's been in first place for a little while. Just one of the top runners we have in the league. Mal has took a little break. He's come back. Middle of the pack runner, but don't count him out. His times vary pretty greatly, so you can get a good run out of him any time. So should be pretty good.
Most certainly. Now, for those unfamiliar, the object of Super Mario Land 2 is for our racers to defeat the evil Wario, and to do so, they will advance through six different zones to collect, as the game's title indicates, six golden coins by defeating six different bosses, and those golden coins allow access to Wario's castle for that final showdown. Now, what's randomized here in Super Mario Land 2? Just about everything. The levels are shuffled, the bosses, enemies, and power ups are randomized, also changed around to the zone's music. Everybody's hoping for that all popular, all star song seed that I don't believe has come up as of yet. Also in there, the physics are randomized, whether you have normal moon physics or space physics that affect your ability to traverse through the different lands, as well as whether or not a zone's level auto scrolls. And most importantly, there are seven zone levels where they have dual exits, and those may or may not be swapped, which can hinder our runners along the way here. I believe we are just moments away from getting things going here. Should be a fantastic matchup as you've got the second ranked Rave against the sixth ranked Mal. And let's see how things get shaken in just a matter of moments. And it looks like we are underway. So, first off, here we are starting off with Tree Zone 4, the notable leaves. Now, our runners, they're hoping to try to get a carrot here in the hopes of getting the bunny ears to be able to use some of the jumps to float up and take care of most of the level in a fairly quick fashion.
Looks like Rave's having a little bit of controller problems here.
Oh goodness, just an input buffet apparently. Is a lot of inputs being eaten along the way here. So that will give Mal at least an early advantage. He's able to get up to the top and finish off, gaining a fire flower, being able to use those fireballs here. So now Mal heading over to the left and is going to hit Tree Zone 1, which looks to be Pumpkin's Secret 1. It is a pretty quick level, just a quick sprint and a drop down, and not really any enemies in the way or anything, just almost a sprint to the finish here. And just like that, he is through Tree Zone 1, as Rave now, having recovered a little bit, it's almost like a slight advantage. You can see it. Oh, and Rave taking a death, and it's going to soft reset and get things going from the beginning here. Meanwhile, Mal is in Tree Zone 2, which is in its vanilla location.
We saw him there, had the fire flower, then backed up to get the carrot. At the end, there are two exits you can go through. You can get there with no power-up or with any power-up. It is just a little bit easier with the ears.
Yeah, any chance that you can to at least kind of tinker with gravity is never a bad thing, especially in these levels where height is so important. As you can see, the fluttering of the ears allowing you to kind of float along, and that's certainly helpful here. Now, our runners having those ears, they'll more than likely want to take the upper exit, as Mal just about did, but is going to use the enemy to get a boost up and head through the pipe and on over to the secret exit, which we will see whether or not that is the ideal one, and it is not. So that's going to set Mal back a little bit here, and he sees that he's in Mario Zone 2. That's the tree secret level, and recognizing as he jumped that there was moon physics, said no thank you, and soft reset to go back in.
Yeah, almost never going to go ahead and go through a secret exit unless you really want to keep the power up. And I really think the only instance of that is going to be Pumpkin 3. Like if you get the ears from the bonus game, you'll want to keep those so you'll play through the secret exit.
So the power-ups, while they are randomized, they're also extremely important, and this has allowed Rave to catch up, and he is taking the lower path here, probably getting some extra coins just in case he needs to use those to get some power-ups along the way.
As Deer has noted before, to get to the bottom exit, it is still faster to go the top route if you already have the ears. Though, the bottom route is what we are used to in Glitchless, so...
So just that quickly, despite the setback, Rave has taken the lead, taken the correct path, and is going to head on over to Tree 4, which this time around is Macro Zone 2. And we've got Star Song action. Giving you a chance to sing along at home a little bit there as Mal getting through the correct exit now. Let's see if he goes. He's also going to go to the left here and is also going to head on through Macro 2. And just fire flowering through the enemies. Oh, but just happened to skim one of the enemies there and took damage, and now is in a little bit of disadvantage. Only slight, though. Just no way to kill the enemies. And oh, he grazes the cheap there, but just happens to see a carrot. Is he going to... Ooh, almost taking a death there.
It is much faster to get through this section with Fire Flower. There are a ton of enemies there.
Well, he has the ears, which doesn't do a whole lot of good floating in the water, and Rave now going to finish up here and make his way to the first of the boss zones, which this time around is Mario Zone 4.
Oh, Mal taking damage yet again. Twice, even.
Ooh, double damage. Just barely hits the midpoint bell. Now, should Mal take a death here, he's going to start right at that point.
Now, Rave flawlessly going up the Macro 4 stairs there, even with different enemies.
Just floating and waltzing along to the music.
Now, Mal taking a big jump at the end, which is a little dangerous depending on the enemies, because you can fly right into a fish there if you're not careful.
And we have our first boss of the board here, and it looks like it's the three little pigs. So with no fire flower, we're going to have to stomp on them. So we've got the straw pig and the stick pig, although with the ears just able to float over top. Rave taking a float and, oh, taking a little bit of damage along the way. Has to be a bit careful here, taking another hit, but is able to take out the third pig as Small Mario. And that is going to be coin number 1 for Rave here at a little over the 6-minute mark. Around 6 minutes and 11 seconds. Mal, meanwhile, with an invincibility star, trying to take out as many enemies as possible and gets a 1-up for a bonus here, and now he's on his way to the boss. Meanwhile, off to the Hippo, which is another of the 7 split zone levels. And this time around it is Turtle Zone 2, the submarine with the ever-infamous gauntlet. Oh, and Rave taking a death to a shark and is going to immediately reset here as Mal is floating over top and just avoids a hit, but then gets hit there by the pig and is able to take him out. So Mal's about to get coin number 1 here.
Sharks in that passageway are one of the toughest parts, even more so than the gauntlet, I would think. Really surprised that Brave decided to just, nix out of that.
So about a minute differential between the two, just a little under, as Rave opting to head on over to Macro Zone, and it turns out it's another split zone level. It's Pumpkin Zone 2. Meanwhile, Mal is now in. Oh, and goodness! Not only do we have the initial issues with the submarine as usual, but the physics looks to be messed with as well, as looks like we have moon physics here in the submarine.
I would be pretty happy having Pumpkin Zone 2 in the Macro 1 spot. I'm not a big fan of that secret exit, personally. So being able to just go straight for that normal exit and just accepting the outcome, that'd be fine.
So Mal, meanwhile, in the gauntlet, as it's just a series of enemies that are coming after you, and with it being randomized, you don't know what you're going to get. Bullet bills, bonefish, you've got sharks possibly. You don't know what you're going to get until you get in there. As Rave finishing up now with Pumpkin 2 and takes the ideal exit.
Yeah, it looks like the normal exit's the good way to go this time. And unfortunately, the gauntlet is not where Mal wants to be, so he's going to have to go the long way.
So in order to get to the space zone, you have to take the correct exit. The other one dumps you out right into macro zone. And well, some runners, they opt to just go into macro zone from there, and others tend to double back. It's interesting strategies either way that you want to go.
Mal checking the power up over there. If it is a mushroom, you can try to clip through there, collecting the mushroom as soon as you hit the other block next to it.
So Rave quickly through the macro secret zone, which was tree 1, and now we are on space zone 2.
It looks like he does have space physics as well, though he still is staying around the floor.
Maybe that's his way of letting us know that it's a little bit different, since we don't have the star song that normally accompanies this particular level. He gets clipped by an evil star there, as Mal hitting the midway point in the submarine. Normally this is an auto-scrolling level, but this time around it is not, so that's going to make things at least a little quicker, considering the length and distance that our runners have to go through this space zone.
This is at least a 2-minute level. It's actually longer than the castle, so it's nice to have this not be an auto-scroller.
But for where auto-scrollers aren't, you don't know where or when they're going to show up, so it may come in a less opportune place somewhere along the way, as we have boss number 2, and it is the sewer rat that is quickly roasted by in its vanilla location of macro zone 4, or at least the macro zone boss. And just like that, here at 11 minutes and 2 seconds, Rave takes a 2-coin lead, 2 coins to 1. Mal, meanwhile, has made his way through and is now on Space Zone 1, which is the Hippo Zone. So they'll be floating along the top in the bubble, or at least trying to, and at the tail end, oh, well, just as I say, that his bubble is burst.
And sometimes you fall into autopilot and forget that some of those fish can be up there at the very top of the screen.
Ooh, and another bit of damage here for Mal. So now he's got to be very careful here, as he now has to go into the water.
And it looks like Rave is going... so first of all, Mal has to go to the bottom of the exit because he doesn't have the bubble. Rave also going to the gauntlet, which is going to be a very disappointing outcome for him. Thankfully for Mal, the bottom exit was the correct one.
So that's going to get him right to the space final zone, which this time around is Pumpkin Zone 4. So dodging some hockey masks with swords in them and some classic boos and also some cauldrons and fire, trying to get to whatever the boss will be.
Yeah, we've seen the pigs and the rat so far. I really enjoy seeing a Starman with the boos because you can really see how bad the hitbox is for the boos.
Well, a few extra lives as Mal able to take advantage of that invincibility, as now Rave heading on over to Pumpkin Zone, and Pumpkin 1 this time around is the Space Secret Zone, and it's got Moon Physics, so he's going to drop on down with that. Meanwhile, the boss of Space Zone is going to be the Octopus, normally seen in the Turtle Zone, and Mal taking a death to that Octopus, so going to have to at least go back through starting at the midpoint. And quickly on to the next of the split zone levels here, and Pumpkin Zone 2 this time around is Pumpkin Zone 3. And now Mal taking care of the Octopus this time around and able to get coin number 2. So now on to Macro Zone 1 with another successful selection here from Rave. So he is now 3 out of 4 of the 7 split zone levels. And it looks like Mal taking a death in Pumpkin Zone 2 as Rave heading along here with the Fire Flower. And that is what he's going to want if he wants to take the secret exit here. There's this spot right here where you need the Fire Flower to be able to take out those 2 blocks, which he does. Roast a couple of ants. Doesn't even need the magnifying glass to do so. And the secret exit is not the ideal one. So he opts quickly to not bother with Turtle Zone 1 and heads back on in to Macro Zone 1. Is going to have to go all the way through. Oh, and Mal hopping up on the pipe, and there's a boo right there waiting for him to take him out. And Rave taking a death, and he quickly soft resets.
Mal taking these pipes very cautiously here.
Very understandably so. They've been a little troublesome for him in the early going here, but able to get through now. And hangs onto those ears to be able to float through, just avoiding a boo. And heading on south. Trying to lure the boo out of the way, and does so nicely. Has to take a bit of a damage boost there. But he would have needed to anyway to spin jump through this exit.
It's a very interesting choice going for this secret exit when this is the Macro 1 location. Like, if it's the Macro 1, just go for the easy exit and accept how many exits you have to do.
So this ends up being the less than ideal option for him. So he's going to have to take an extra stage. Meanwhile, now heading on to Pumpkin Zone final here is Rave, and this time around it is Turtle Zone 3 inside the whale. As Mal, meanwhile, taking the long way here, and it looks like that is Macro Zone 3 in Macro 2's location. Rave quickly up to the midpoint bell already, and spin jumps onto a power-up that's a fire flower that isn't doing much to those bonefish. Paragoombas and turtles, on the other hand, whole nother story. So now we've got the boss here, and it is the witch in the cage.
Mal taking a death in the chimney to a Goomba.
Oh no. That chimney was so close to the end too, so now having to start back at the midpoint, able to get the one up for the life that was lost, but now has to be pretty careful jumping along here, doesn't want to get surprised. There we go, now he takes care of the Goomba. As Rave picks up, wow, very dangerous there. Rave picking up coin number 3 here at 18 minutes and 34 seconds.
Oh, now Mal's got to endure Mario 1 with moon physics.
Oh, goodness. It's a difficult level on its own, but then you're dealing with physics you're not used to dealing with. That's a very tricky challenge to traverse. As Rave, meanwhile, is in the first Mario Zone level, and it is the starting level. Keeping things basic for Mario.
Oh, Mal having some difficulty jumping there at the end. I think those, I think the game counts those as platforms, meaning he's going to have a little difficulty jumping off of them with the different gravity.
Yeah, the reaction time when you're jumping a little bit different with the moon physics, as Rave now finishing up with the starting level into Mario Zone 2, and we've got auto-scrolling action with the macro secret zone. Now this, I believe, is normally in the vanilla version. This is also an auto-scroller, is that correct?
Yes, that would be correct. One of the few.
And I guess with that experience, Rave able to utilize as, oh, Mal trying to possibly get the midpoint bell and just opts to skip on past it because there's no way a small Mario to be able to hit that bell with the moon physics and then get across there. Unless you're looking at almost an Olympic-style long jump that I don't think is necessarily happening here. So Rave finishing up with the second Mario zone. Now Mario, the only zone with no split levels, and oh wow, we've got Pumpkin Secret 2, but we have a second consecutive auto-scroller. Mal, meanwhile, finally getting some bunny ears and is going to float down. Can't use those bunny ears with the moon physics, but is able to just float on down to the goal. So now he gets to head into Space Zone and realizes that he has space physics now.
It's always a fun realization. Like, the first thing I do when I enter a level that I start moving slowly is I jump, and then I hit jump repeatedly to see if I float or not. Because I've had that habit of holding jump, and then I just let go out of habit, and it doesn't tell me anything.
Because you're jumping at the appointed appropriate time, so you're not sure, all right, was that a moon jump, or is that space physics that allows me to float? So that repeated jumping will definitely be able to tell the tale.
Yep, I'll either, maneuver back and forth in midair, or I'll just fall the way down.
And OPT Lawyer, our restreamer, asking about otter ears. No, I think those ears are in another game and another stream.
It looks like Mal hit the mushroom, and then he went back to the left and then back right, which was enough to despawn the mushroom. Thankfully, he's got the fire flower up top, so he didn't need it.
And Rave getting through that auto-scroller, and can you believe it? I guess, well, not necessarily all good things come in threes, as now this is the third consecutive auto-scroller for Rave, and this is the macro final zone, as Mal now taking out the sewer rat, so he is going to get coin number 3.
Hey, 3 auto-scrollers is better than all 4 being auto-scrollers.
This is true. I've had one of those seeds before. So 23:14 on the time for the macro coin. So at least for the moment, that evens it up at 3 coins apiece. Rave with the tree, macro, and pumpkin coins. Meanwhile, going more in order, Mal having the tree, space, and macro coins.
Alright, so Mal approaching a dual exit level here again, this being Pumpkin 3. We already know that he needs to go to the upper route, so he needs to find the carrot.
And we have Tatanga. Normally the Space Zone boss here in Mario Zone, and he is going to get roasted by Rave. And that will be coin number 4 for Rave here at the 24-minute and 34-second mark.
You'd think he'd learn after Super Mario Land 1. Oh, Mal jumping just a little too far there.
A little ambitious with the jump, and into the spikes he goes. And now
so here
Rave's going to double back and head on back to the Hippo, which we know is the submarine, with the moon physics.
He's only going back when he has a double power-up because of this shark path, which, I mean, even if you're small Mario, is not awful to go through. Like, it's just a slight... It's tight timing, but it's not impossible.
Rave not one to take too many chances, more so calculated risks than anything else. And able to stomp on that bullet bill there to create a little bit of space. As Mal, meanwhile, heading into Macro Zone 1.
And not holding Flutter there, falling straight down after hitting the block.
So it looked like Mal was able to get through Pumpkin 3 with at least not having to do it twice, thanks to selecting the correct split level.
Yeah, there were ears. There was an ear block and the hidden block towards the end, so once you have them, you just go for it, and he was able to get them there.
But still, Mal having a little trouble on the split zone. So far, 2 for 5.
Well, he's got a fire flower, so you would think he would go for the secret exit here. Unfortunately, that would not be the good choice, as we already know.
So he doesn't know it yet, but he's hoping to get hit somewhere between now and when he needs that fire flower. But considering how he's roasting the ants here, I don't know how likely it is. Is Rave finishing up and taking the correct zone?
Just as we saw the other day, you know, sometimes accidents lead to good things, such as with Late Learner.
Oh, goodness. What a race that was.
Or even earlier this one when Mal got hit and lost the bubble where in the level where Rave is and took the bottom exit. So
and we'll see if this is something that, well, Rave able to take that bit of damage here, but he's heading back over potentially for another bubble. And he gets it. Oh, and there is the incorrect exit for Mal. He's going to go ahead and reset.
You gotta wait until you actually enter the
Oh,
level
he
first to
reset just a
reset,
little
though.
early. So I think he took a moment to perhaps settle himself from tilt, and Rave taking the lower exit, and it turned out to be the correct one.
Yeah, he got hit by the same exact fish that Mal did. So Mal's actually playing through Turtle Zone 1, which is the second Pumpkin Zone secret level, which is a bit of a surprising choice. I guess after he failed the first soft reset, maybe he assumed that he thought he had to play through it.
That could have been the case. I mean, not realizing it by doing it early. I guess he thought, all right, now I've got to just endure this and deal with it. But wasn't the case here, as Rave going on a ghost hunt here and getting a couple of one-ups for his efforts.
Yeah, the fastest way to get out of the secret level is to press A to enter it, and then immediately hold AB start select to soft reset just as soon as the game lets you press anything. But at the very least, Mal does get to start with a power-up, so...
So back he goes here as Rave hopping on top of the octopus and is going to take it out here. And is going to get coin number 5, the Space Zone coin, here at 29 minutes and 6 seconds. And while chat noting that a lack of knowledge may be causing some early issues here, you have to realize we're all new at these things at some point.
Knowledge is power.
It most certainly is. We learned that from Schoolhouse Rock as kids. Well, okay, people my age did at least. But
I certainly did. I think we also have to narrow that to Americans our age.
This is true, yes. I forgot that it wasn't exactly a global phenomenon, as globality is something that is another thing that makes Twitch as awesome as it is here. I mean, we have runners just in this community alone from Europe as well as the United States, and possibly even a couple of other places that I haven't even recognized.
Yeah, this match specifically is Portugal versus Germany, if I'm not mistaken.
A very international flair here. So Rave now heading into... Well, he quickly got through Turtle Secret. It is now in the final split zone. And this is Space Zone 1 with Moon Physics, as meanwhile Mal is entering the pipe in Turtle Zone 3, and now he gets his time with the Witch.
It looks like Rave is going to do the all-level strat of take the bill and take an intentional death. That way, in case he gets the exit wrong, he'll start back at the midway.
So it looks like he is going to go for the northern exit, as Mal taking out the Witch. So Mal is going to get coin number 4 here at the 31:18 mark.
This is an important thing to note for viewers who may not be terribly familiar with the strat that Rave is doing. Basically, if you take the midpoint and then die, and then take the incorrect exit, if you soft reset and go back, you'll still have the midway active. It does require dying after hitting the midway. If you don't die, if you just take the midway, take the wrong exit, and then go back, you'll be back at the beginning again. It's not a great level to be back in when you're small, Mario, so it's definitely a great strat to do, especially when you have like moon physics or something.
Which he certainly has here, so now that he knows that he took the incorrect exit, he's going to stay low, at least as low as he can with the moon physics, and make his way to the exit here, and that'll get him over to the final boss level, which this time around, by process of elimination, is Tree Zone 5, and based on the boss that we haven't seen, we know that it's going to be the Mama Bird at the top here.
All right, Mal trying to survive in the auto-scroller.
Yeah, the first of the 3 stages of grief here.
Oh, Rave just not quite getting the owls and the clouds lined up.
So a restart here that buys a little bit of time here for Mal.
Yeah, being a whole
so far to advance on, and that's the drawback to auto scrollers, especially in a race.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's a coin behind, and he's another at least one more level ahead of him is an auto scroller, or 2 more levels ahead of him are auto scrollers. So it's he doesn't have a whole lot to catch up. He's also put himself in a little bit of predicament, not quite pulling off that little unnecessary trick there.
Well, he at least got partial swag points on that, but was able to make it through, and now on to the second of the auto-scroller trifecta, Pumpkin Secret 2.
The hardest of the secret levels, honestly. This level, when it is the Mushroom House on the Overworld, when it's the very first level, claims a decent amount of lives.
And Rave quickly roasting the mama bird, and that is going to be the 6th coin for Rave here, so this will grant him access to Wario's castle here at 34 minutes and 14 seconds. So Rave on pace for right around his average time. His mean or average time has been about 37.5 minutes. So pending any chicanery in Wario's castle, he'll probably finish around that time.
Yeah, this definitely looks like a sub 40 easy.
Well, there don't look to be any wonky physics, so I think it's just a matter of making sure that the jumps are precise.
Yeah, should be right around his average.
Taking a bit of damage boost there.
Yeah, it looks like Rave's just going all out at this point. His average, just for the record for these seeds, is 37 minutes and 34 seconds, and he's just about on pace for that, so.
I mean, I did say about 37.5 minutes. I was going the Price is Right strats. Closest without going over.
It's a good strat. It's a good strat.
Mal, meanwhile, just going through trying not to tear his hair out as he goes through these auto-scroller strats.
Yeah, this is a real pain to be as an auto-scroller, because it's, like this last part right here is not a great jump, because it's kind of blind.
It's almost a leap of faith in a sense, but he gets through it, and now on to the 3rd level that he finds out is an auto-scroller, and, well, that's why we keep their mics muted, because I'm sure that they're probably less than verbally thrilled about having to deal with it.
Rave taking on the faces as Small Mario. There's a little bit of a close jump there on the last one, but he's got good timing, so takes him out no problem.
And now it is, after a very timely power-up of a Fire Flower, it is on to the trifecta battles with Wario. So he's going to utilize the throne here to be able to hop on and avoid that bit of trouble.
Moves on to the second room when the timer ends in a 0, 4, or 8 in order to get a very fast second cycle here.
And able to hop on, losing the little bit of a power up here, but now we've got Fire Mario. So 1 hop, 2 hop, 3 hops, and that is going to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, get out your GGs in chat for Ravetuba, who's going to finish in first in this race. with an official SRL time of 37 minutes and 27 seconds. So just as you had noted, right around the average, just 7 seconds faster than the average time. So not going to fluctuate it too much, but still pretty good, pretty efficient, and not too much in terms of surprises or anything. As Mal trying to take out Tatanga here and lost the Fire Flower and was able to get the stomp, although taking another bit of damage. But that is going to be coin number 5 for Mal here as he takes out Tatanga, and we'll get that Mario Zone coin at 38.24. So Mal with one zone to go. And here in Turtle 1, it's the Turtle Secret Zone.
Oh, there's just 100 kills.
Yes, when you kill 100 enemies, it's the counter just to the left of the timer. An automatic invincibility star drops down from above. Usually our racers, if they can, will want to time that to right around when they're going to take on the faces in Wario's castle, but these things don't necessarily work out that way.
This is very curious doubling back for a power-up to end at the same power-up that he had.
Yeah, in that case, it was turning right by making 3 lefts. And a question in chat here, if you do the midway safe where you hit the bell and die immediately, do you have to do a specific exit to not start from the beginning, or will it always bring you back to the bell no matter which exit you finish?
I don't recall if you take the correct exit, if you still start at the midway or not. I know for sure, like obviously for sure, if you take the secret exit, you go back to the middle, but I forget if you take the correct exit and go back, but it's not something we generally do, so.
Yeah, if you're finished with that level, there is seldom a reason to go back into it. I mean, unless you're maybe going for a nearby power-up, but that is an extremely rare situation.
Yeah, it does come up, though. Test that out pretty quick. Yeah, so what happened there again? So we saw that Mal took the midway, but didn't actually die, so. Also, he didn't actually enter the level here, so. Yeah, could actually enter the level before soft resetting, unfortunately.
Yeah, it seems to be hitting it just a hair early. And now I guess thinking that he can't necessarily go back, he's opted to go through it, which is Tree Zone 3, the Beehive, and immediately, well, that's one way to get out of it.
Yeah, that's if you don't want to soft reset, taking a death will do it.
And with 9 lives, he certainly has the ability here. But not wanting to take one there, and soft resets at that point. So now heading back on through Space Zone 1. So as far as the split zone levels, Mal ending up going 2 for 7, as opposed to Rave, who went 4 for 7. So that's certainly one of the factors here. So Mal going a little bit of a firing spree here as he makes his way. He's going to hit that midpoint bell just for safety.
Why not at this point?
Well, as he grazes one of the projectiles there, so he loses that fire flower and takes another bit of damage, and Timely Leap's going to get him there. And he is at the goal. So now one more boss to go here, and we've got Tree Zone 5. Well, if you can't fly, sometimes you can fire, and that's exactly what Mal is doing here, but you're going to have to be a little on the trepidatious side in terms of the jumps.
Yeah, when you jump thinking there's a cloud and there's suddenly an owl, it gets a little scary. So far, he's doing all right.
And opting to stop short to avoid the Paragoomba.
All right, pretty safe go through.
And now it's just a matter of taking out the mama bird, and having that fire flower means quick roast job. So that will be the 6th and final coin for Mal here. And that's going to come at the 44-minute and 17-second mark. So a differential of 10 minutes and 3 seconds between coin 6 for both of our runners. But that opens the door, and that dreaded bassy music means it's time for a showdown with Wario.
The one up for luck.
And meanwhile, the music doesn't seem to befit the mood. You've got all these treacherous spikes and fireballs coming at you, and it's very happy, peppy, energetic music.
They're baby fireballs this time. It's like a kiddie fireball zone. It's not even bad. Oh, look, we're getting a star too. It's real happy times.
Now still having to wait across those platforms. And we've got the falling fists, which Mal is able to dodge, but not quite able to jump. I don't know if that was an ingested input, but falling into the lava is going to have to start on over here. But thankfully, there's that one-up still there. So now avoiding the fireballs once again. And now here comes the platforms once again. There's something about these platforms here and the constant climbing up. It almost reminds me of the Eliminator zone of American Gladiators. And, well, falling off there and back into the pit he goes. And another restart here for Mal. This time changing things up and opting not to get the one-up. Maybe it's a superstition thing.
Just did a quick little research for you real fast. But you had mentioned at the beginning when we were chatting about the All-Star Song seed, which you didn't think we had seen. I do recall it had happened, and I looked up when it had happened because I actually found the exact time.
Oh wow. Okay, so that I figured that there was something along those lines. Oh goodness.
And I'm now having a little trouble with the propeller platforms right now. Maybe this one will be the one. OPT restreamed that one. Interesting. Right.
Said, but it wasn't 100% Star Song.
Oh yeah. That's because we learned that I had goofed up the code. That was on me. But we did hit the... It did trigger the 1%. It was supposed to be All-Star Song. It was the Squirrel vs. Lori D. Bunnykins, Season 1, Round 3. Almost 3 months to the day.
I think that was just about when I was getting invited into the fray of things here.
Well, we have a playlist that has 30 videos of Super Mario Land 2 Randomizer League matches, so...
Yeah, I'm sure I can go back and look at that at some point here. The good old days.
I don't know about OPT singing Star Song for 30 minutes. There's only one person I would want to sing Star Song, and I had them on my couch at AGGQ.
And that was fantastic. It's amazing to think that was, gosh, what, 6 months ago now? Where does the time go?
Yeah, Iceplug was... I wanted Iceplug on my couch for that. Mal taking on the faces now. Again, as Small Mario, it is a treacherous trip through there.
And all it takes is one mistimed jump or one angle that is a bit off here, and okay, able to take out one, so that'll make it a little easier here. Ducks in under the awning there, getting a little shelter, and now heads on through the pipe, gets the fire flower for safety here.
What a generous power-up.
And here, just past the 50-minute mark, here's the showdown with Wario. 3 throne stomps, and that takes care of the first room. Wonder if he was contemplating maybe getting that carrot.
He's waiting
against it.
He was waiting for the timer, but it looked like he mistimed it.
So now here comes number 2, and he ends up getting a fire, or a mushroom rather, as here comes Fire Flower Wario. So there's 1 jump, 2 jumps, and the 3rd jump is going to do it. So get out your GGs in chat for Mal. He is going to finish with an official SRL time of 50 minutes and 56 seconds. So just a little bit past the average for Mal, who was hovering around the 50-minute mark, 50:03 to be exact. So a little bit less than a minute ahead of, a little bit less than a minute behind his average time, but still a very gallant effort, given some of the surprises in there. Most notably the trifecta of auto scrollers in Mario Zone.
Yeah, a few unfortunate deaths that set him back a little bit, especially in the castle. I think that really set that apart from being a much better time for him. Otherwise, Rave just performed at his usual level, which is it's the reason he's in 2nd place.
Yeah, a lot of fantastic runners here, and even those who are still learning and developing, you can see their growth and their improvement, and it's a great thing to see. And looking forward to more of it here. in the Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins Randomizer League.
Yeah, we do have one more race tomorrow, and it actually just got rescheduled for an earlier time of 10 a.m. Eastern. That is going to be Liam Piper versus the Squirrel.
So just 12 hours from now.
Yep, Liam Piper is currently 4-2 in the league. Squirrel is 1-6, though the Squirrel has had some run-ins with some high seed runners because if you compare stats as opposed to records, like times, like Squirrel is much, like his times are much better than his record. So I'm just waiting for that to just flip around for him. Liam has been growing as a runner as well, so it should be a very interesting matchup.
It most certainly should, and I'm looking forward to that. I'll have to catch it a little bit late as I'll be working, even when it was at its originally scheduled time, as I'm working during the day. But even after that tomorrow, a jam-packed lineup on the Randomania networks, including at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, one of the Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament races. Looks like it's going to be Fuchsia Fantasy against Edgeworth. Then a little bit later that evening, over on Randomania 2. Oh, wow, this is something from the Randomania administrative staff. Mutants and Masterminds Bay City Chronicles. A little interesting project that the admin staff have been working on. And then over on Randomania 3 at 9 p.m. Eastern is the weekly Wednesday Warrior Weekly Dragon Warrior Randomizer race. That is coming up at 9 o'clock tomorrow evening, and then a little bit later into the night right here on Randomania is going to be the Legend of Zelda Randomizer Battle Royale. Looks like it's going to be Random Effect, Redbird Grad, Thirwolf, and JSR. That starts at 10:30 tomorrow night, just a little over 24 hours from now. Make sure to check out the schedule for all of the upcoming events here among the Randomania networks. So I want to any final thoughts here, Slash, the creator of all this insanity here?
After tomorrow's match, we'll be entering our final week of Season 4, which will be Beast Mode, which is always a little bit more exciting to watch. And then after that, we have a week off from the league. We'll have a showcase race of the new version of the randomizer, which has some more interesting features that I'm releasing, including faster auto-scrollers, ice physics, and Luigi physics, which will be pretty interesting. Beast mode, for those unaware, certain enemies and power-ups show up more often, such as money bags, so there's basically less power-ups available. The boss health is also randomized, and the music speeds up. It's really fun.
Plus, I believe the midpoint bells are replaced with enemies, and the different boss hit points are randomized as well.
Yeah, boss health is randomized, and there's no more midways. We replace those with enemies.
So looking for that. So it's just a little bit more harsh in general, and that's why they call it Beast Mode. So that'll be coming up next week. And we gave you the lineup here coming up among the Randomania networks. I want to thank OPT Lawyer for the restream here and also assisting with the tracking. And also make sure to give both of our runners a follow here of Mal and Ravetuba, as well as all the folks behind the scenes here, OPT Lawyer, as well as my co-commentator Slash Infinity. And I'm Ferran Burgundy, saying until next time, may your stars sing brightly and your seeds stay classy. Good night, everyone.
Good night.